Hi, I'm Spooks, the person behind this channel. If you see any of my animatics, you know that I have quite a few characters. Most of them have gone through pretty drastic changes, and I thought it would be fun to show these changes in a video series. So, welcome to the evolution of my OCs, starting off with Robin. She's the oldest out of all my current characters, being created in 2022 August. I only really made her because I wanted to make animatics. While I did have a lot of old characters beforehand, most of them were scrapped because they were simply an amalgamation of media I liked when I made them. Robin could be considered my first real character who I actually put some thought and effort into. Since her first design, she's always been an important character, either serving as the protagonist or the secondary protagonist. I'm going to list off different versions of her backstory one by one, along with showing off her various designs. Let's start with her earliest backstory. Robin Starling was a famous child actress and singer, but as she became older, she started getting less and less jobs and eventually became forgotten. She had a pretty bad relationship with her dad, who was her only parent, and often disobeyed him. Once when she was 17, she went out driving late at night and got into a car crash. However, Carmine, who was the main villain at this point, and also a ghost, saved her from dying, and because of this, they became tied together for life. An old necklace gifted to Robin by her late mom became Carmine's lifeline. If it broke, they would disappear. The two were friends at first, but eventually they had a huge falling out and Robin threatened to break the necklace. Carmine in return forcefully took it from her and set her room on fire. Even though her dad found her, she didn't survive her injuries and became a ghost due to dying a sudden and violent death. Ouch! After that, due to not being able to interact with the real world much, she was just wandering around aimlessly. One day, however, she came across Alice, who was about to fall from really high up, and saved her from dying. Because of this, Alice's moon necklace became Robin's lifeline. The story was also supposed to involve things like Ghost Robin and Carmine having a rivalry, Robin not wanting Alice to find out who she was in life due to how much of an awful person she was, and this duo eventually rescuing a kid called Damien from Carmine, who was like Robin saved by them. And this version of the character lasted from 2022 August, the villain animatic, to 2022 September, the Devil's Train animatic, before her first big redesign and story change. At first I only changed her character design, but her backstory stayed relatively the same. She got a different hairstyle as you can see, which colors aside is almost identical to her current one, but she kept the same clothes and similar facial features, such as big spiky eyelashes, a small nose, and round eyes. However, this version of her didn't last long. Soon after her redesign, her story got some huge changes too. The setup was pretty much the same, washed up child star, bad relationship with her dad. However, this was when I first introduced Amelia. Yay! Who was at this point still possessing people's bodies so she could stay around. With this game, one huge change. Instead of dying, Robin disappeared for 3 years with no memory of what happened during those years and a bit before that. Turns out Amelia did a bit of tomfoolery and she acted horrible towards all of Robin's friends, causing them to abandon her. While some like Shyla, who was still named Bonnie at this point, were willing to forgive her and were even looking for her, and others like Alistair were unwilling to even hear her out. Alice, who was Robin's cousin here, had no idea she even disappeared and just thought she was busy due to her acting job. This version of the story involved Robin wanting to find out what happened to her, Amelia possessing her again, and thus making her a possessed Disney child. Nice! It lasted from the end of November, the Who's in Control speedpaint, to mid-October, the I Am the Mastermind animatic, before everything got a huge revamp. Robin slowly started getting redesigned to look more and more like her current self, with only her colors and a few smaller details changing. The third version of her backstory is very similar to her current one, with only a few notable changes, which I unfortunately can't really talk about in detail due to spoilers. Oops. Robin finally gained her final form as a half-dragon girl with fire magic. She was adopted by Alice's family after her dad found her all alone in the forest, with her having no memories whatsoever. Turns out this was because she wandered off alone and A certain scientist, Caesar Crow, who was the first version of Edward, finding her and taking her in to experiment on her so he can find a way to either turn her into a new vessel for his dead wife, Emilia's soul, or just experimenting with making her power stronger because messing with the laws of nature is fun. This version of the story also involved Robin being fatally wounded, then getting mind controlled by Emilia before the gang could save her. It became the foundation for her current backstory, with a few notable details like Crow experimenting on her and Emilia possessing her getting changed or removed entirely. And with this, we've arrived at Robin's current version, and the one you guys hopefully will see in my comic this summer. Please like this fan, I'm working on it. Despite how much she's changed, things like her design and personality have stayed relatively consistent, only getting minor updates to fit the story and setting. Her relationship with Alice has also stayed pretty much the same, with them having a kind of strange sisterly bond. Her relationship with others, however, that's a different story, but we'll get there eventually. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please tell me if I should continue this series or not. I have plenty of other characters who I could talk about, especially because some of them have changed way more than Robin. And I love to talk about all of them. You can also tell me what aspects of the video I could improve on. Thank you so much for watching. Bye bye!